Welcome back. You can see that Nat has transmutated into Steve here.
Hello.
But yeah, we're about to get started with another fun round. Two more decks we have not seen. White-red tax, land tax deck. It's mostly white weenie. It just has a little bit of red for a couple spicy cards. He's not running Scroll Rack. And then Matt Webster is on Dracosplosion, that Theoretic Explosion Draco deck, which I am very excited about.
Yeah, Draco Explosion, a deck that long talked about. Many do not have the stones to play it, but Matt does. So
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Both of these decks are really cool. I'm excited to see what happens. We're off to the races already.
I think, just a quick portent from Matt Webster and drawing on Angelo's upkeep. Portent is one of those cantrips that is close to a modern cantrip. It sees some play in Legacy. But it's a fine card. Oh man, and Angelo
we have a land
tax,
which means that Matt is going to be faced immediately with the decision of, do I play the second land? It seems like yes. We got that out of the way. Cool.
Yeah. And I think he has to. I mean, his deck doesn't have Mox Diamond. There's really no way for him to play the game without having multiple lands in play. So this is one of those times when it's just so powerful to have land tax in a way we need deck. It gives it that card advantage engine and card quality for the rest of the game. He's going to have fewer lands to draw.
It's not always been legal throughout its history of Magic, because it is quite good.
Yeah, quite powerful. And honestly, looking at Matt's, at least his main deck, I don't know that it's the best suited to fight against a white weenie deck that has as many pro-red creatures as Angelo's does. I'm watching him land tax and pull out some non-matching lands. Oh, goodness. It's hard.
Zvi Mashawitz won a very big tournament by playing cheap white pro-red creatures in a red meta. So it can happen again.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say here about Angelo's deck is I don't think it, opposed to many decks we've seen today, it's not one that is dealing itself a ton of damage with its lands. It has a couple pain lands in it, but I think in general this is a deck that's not as beat up by its own mana. So Erratic Explosion is going to have to actually, deal more probably than just the 16 from itself. So this should be a pretty good match, I think. Pretty interesting. Enlightened Tutor, I think this happened during the upkeep, and to get an after the land tax resolved to go in, or land tax trigger resolved to go and get that Imperial Armor. That is a pretty potent combo. Those two cards together are part of the reason I think he's playing this list.
I guess from my point of view, I would, if I was just handed this Draco Explosion deck and said to play this matchup, and they also had a turn on land tax, I don't think I'd be feeling too happy. But if you bring this deck to the tournament and you're doing well, that means that you're prepared for a lot of situations and you know your deck pretty well. So I'm excited to see what's in store.
Yeah. I mean, he does have a lot of interaction, especially on the staff. So, and there is no threat yet from Angelo. So while it is troublesome, troublesome to be facing down the land tax, there's no threat, and land tax is just drawing lands at the moment.
I was just thinking for 1 second that Ensnaring Bridge might invalidate a lot of what Angelo is trying to do. Angelo does have Disenchant in response, but maybe that's going to be the bridge to the combo.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. The only trouble is I don't know that Matt has a lot of ways to empty his hand. So if he doesn't Imperial Armor up, like doesn't have one throw with Imperial Armor and instead gets just a couple 2/1s in play, that can be a little bit harder to get around, but it also means the clock is slower. So we'll see. Yeah, it's kind of funny. This is, I think, the first time I've seen a land tax and a Scroll Rack and not the other one. And they're both playing one half of that combo, but not together.
That's an excellent point.
I'm excited to see how this all turns out. I do think Matt is probably going to be pretty upset when he realizes that Rolling Earthquake is going to do not very much in this matchup. Though it does do the last 4 points of damage after Erratic Explosion if need be.
Okay, so we have a play here. It looks like a disenchant on the scroll rack.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and it looks like he fetched in response, so I think we're going to see a counterspell back up.
Yeah. 2 blue.
Oh, even better, miscalc.
You always feel good when you get the miscalc.
Yeah, miscalc or force spike always feel a little bit better when they work. Yeah, and I think this is sort of what the Dracosplosion deck is trying to do, right? It's mostly a tap out. I mean, pass the turn control deck until you're ready to go off with Erratic Explosion.
It so happened that Angelo had 1 mana up for I guess a days or something, but I don't know if they know each other's lists.
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, that was his first opportunity to cast that disenchant if he wanted to cast Enlightened Tutor.
I know when I played the vintage team series event, I was just flying blind the whole time.
Yeah,
and also because I think like my first several rounds were close to time, I was just had no breaks.
Well, and neither of these guys have been on camera before, so it's pretty unlikely that they know each other's lists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible they might have watched the end of a match or something, but
that's not going to tell you all of the niche counter spells.
Yeah, exactly.
And if other players are like me, I really like playing like you have your best counter spell, you have your 4 of, and then you can play some really wacky 1-ofs.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this is a pretty sweet interaction right here. He just went Gush, flow 2 blue, and then put back presumably, in this case, his whole hand, but presumably those 2 lands that he just gushed with his scroll rack. That's a pretty sweet way to find a counterspell if you need to find one at the moment. I think he just drew 7 to find a counterspell for that Paladin and back.
There's a lot of value happening right now.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about Gush plus scroll rack before, but boy oh boy, that's more exciting than I had given credit to.
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't think to put scroll rack in an island deck.
Yeah, but boy, yeah, and I mean scroll rack is the perfect card for Erratic Explosion. We don't have brainstorm, so oh yeah, he did find that counterspell.
It's a good glue card.
Yeah, I like it. I'm coming around to this list. I was skeptical at first. I've been worried about it in the past, as you said, but man, what a cool interaction.
It's not hard to find a list that when you first look at it, you're completely confused as to how it can ever win.
Yeah.
Or how you can pilot it to a win. But, some people don't like attacking with creatures. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. Man, this list also just in general has a bunch of good cards in it. Like outside of the Erratic Explosion and Draco, we're talking about Gamble, Fire Ice, Rolling Earthquake, Mystical Tutor. Like these are all just really fine, and counter spells. These are all fine cards.
So just going off my memory, an Erratic Explosion revealing Draco does what, 15 or 16? 16. But then you have to make up the rest somehow with your burn spells.
Yeah, I expect between Fire Ice, Rolling Earthquake, and then the fact that people's lands deal them a fair amount of damage in this format, which is one of the reasons I feel like Angelo's a little bit favored, just because it does take more than just the Erratic Explosion in most cases.
So which is easier to set up, a Dracosplosion or an Urza's Rage?
Oh, I think Dracosplosion is much harder. We saw John on camera earlier.
It's a little bigger reward, but
yeah. Urza's Rage has the bonus of just
very much within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, you just want the game to go as long as possible, right? Eventually, you will have enough lands in play.
Yeah, and it's like normally, you're upset to draw lands, but as long as you can keep doing things, it's great.
Yeah. And it looks to me like he managed to fetch a land after putting all those cards back, and now is on the back on the scroll rack plan. So scroll rack is providing tons of value.
It's a repeatable effect. It's like a Sensei stop.
Yeah.
And, there are a few of those effects, but they all kind of require some investment to play.
They do. They do.
Like Sylvan Library, even though that's a fantastic Magic card, it's not played in this format very much. Partially because it's green, and partially because when you're green, you want to be doing other things usually.
Yeah, it is. I have seen some people play it though, and when it is see play, like there's a reason people used to call it the green necro. Like it is a powerful effect.
Yeah, it's definitely a 1 or 2 of in a lot of my decks, but it's not a plan A or anything.
Yeah, there are.
It's a less safe card than an old school, and also old school has fewer card selection options.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it has duels to let you play green. So
yeah, well, yeah, it's funny how much like I think that is honestly the biggest difference between middle school and every other format is just the mana.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing because it would be a lot easier to copy lists, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that we lose some decks like the multicolor land grant decks. Are really hard to build now, but
yeah, 3-color good stuff decks in general I think are tougher. Yeah. I mean, not impossible, but they're tougher to build. Like that was a staple of the dual land extended, but I think we're richer as a format for it. As you can see by this tournament where we have 18, 17 players and 16 decks, I think.
Some of the Magic elders are fond of saying restrictions breed creativity.
Yep. Yeah, so it looks like pretty much everything that has been tried by Angelo has been stifled here.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is not how I expected this to play out.
No, I mean, it's funny because the land tax felt really powerful, but Scroll Rack is just doing such a good job of keeping him in the keeping Matt in the cards he needs. And at this point, he's operating because of Gush without needing the land tax.
So the actual problem with it for Angelo was that I don't believe he had a turn to creature, and if he did, this game could be completely different. If he had, you know, the Shadow Pro Red, it could be over.
But yeah, so what we're seeing now is this Erratic Explosion.
Here we go.
Dealing 16 to Angelo. But as we said, the game's not over. I would say in probably 80%, 85% of games in middle school, that would be enough, right? We've seen today over and over these mana bases dealing damage to people. But in this matchup, yeah, he just has to pass after dealing 16. That being said, 3 mana for 16 damage is not a bad deal.
Yeah, definitely not.
There's a Solitary Monk.
And the white player has to begin doing damage, or I guess everything's full steam ahead for Matt. He can draw cards. He can go find his pieces now. And
I mean at this point, since he's gotten, well, now I have to look. I have to remember how Erratic Explosion works.
Okay, so this could accelerate things if this works. We have an Imperial Armor coming down.
Yeah, I mean, it'll help. The only problem is he happened to find one of his 2 creatures that does not have protection from red. Now that being said, it's pretty beefy. I'd imagine right now Angelo has at least 6 cards in his hand, if not 7, from all that land taxing. So that's probably a pretty big Solitary Monk. But still, it is potentially killable. I also, by the way, just noticed that Matt Webster has Undiscovered Paradise in his list, which is a hilarious card to have when your opponent is playing land tax. Yeah. Powerful in any of the Scroll Rack lists, powerful in Tax Rack itself, but just funny to help fight land tax. He has both Gush and Undiscovered Paradises, which I'm sure that's not their intended purpose, but helps.
Yeah, and blue-red does not have the most options for mana fixing.
Yeah.
You take what you can get.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at his list to see what else does damage. We have another Erratic Explosion, or we have 2 more Erratic Explosions, Rolling Earthquake, 4 copies of Fire Ice, and that I think is, and 2 Barbarian Rings.
Oh, I missed the rings. That's kind of cool. It sounds like Earthquake would probably be the best thing, and you need 1 more land, which not hard to find.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Angelo has not dealt himself damage with the Battlefield Forge yet. I don't
Here we
think
go.
there'd be any
It
reason.
happened. There we go. There's the earthquake.
Rolling Earthquake for 4.
Any response? Could he like swords in response?
Yeah, I mean he could swords his own monk here.
I don't know of any other way to instantly gain life or stop this. Here we
Yep.
go. It's happening.
Sure enough. And he said, I think, gains 6 life. Gush in response.
Okay, so this could try to get countered. Here we go. Force of Will. That might seal the deal.
He swords it again.
Oh, we keep going. Wow. That's crazy. It is shrinking a little bit. I think they're discussing numbers and resolutions.
Okay, I think they just rolled back a little bit because Angelo was confused about what card was cast. He thought it was a counter spell, not a gush. And then he also had a Force of Will. So they're just rolling back, and he's letting him gush first. I think he wants to wait to swords until after the Force.
Which is okay. I thought that was how it was playing out. We'll see.
It was. I think Angelo is still going to swords again. And I think it's all going to end up happening the same. It was just they got a little confused about what was happening. I think he only gushed once.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Matt put himself pretty low on resources here.
I think so. He'll be at 2 lands. Paradise goes to hand. I think 3 manas. It's probably going to be enough to kill if he has the cards, but if he has to dig, he might be in trouble. But now the chokehold has sort of been released, as Angelo does not have a current clock.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lightning bolt. I'm not sure what life totals are.
It looks like his life total was low enough that lightning bolt ended the game because
Rolling Earthquake did a bunch to him, so I guess that might have been enough.
Yeah. Well, geez, that was sudden and surprising, but cool.
Yeah.
Man, I thought
that
could have gone anywhere.
Spells, not one. That's neat. I guess if because he did connect once with the monk, right?
Yeah, and that was probably for I don't know 6 or 7.
Monk, Earthquake, Bolt, added up.
Pretty close. Oh yeah, and he was tapping those pain lands that whole time. So yeah, nice, good. That was an exciting end to that game.
Yeah, definitely.
If we had known their life totals, it would have been a little bit more exciting. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at
sideboard. I'm gonna so looking at Matt's sideboard first. So
yeah, so I think there's a couple cards here that he might want to bring in. Pyroclasm is not one of them.
Probably not great. Disc, pretty good.
Disc seems very powerful, although it does disrupt his own scroll rack engine to some extent. I think it's probably worth it.
What's the red card next to Disc?
Detonate. I think that's an anti-artifact card.
Yeah.
Do you bring in? You can't want to bring in the anti-life gain card, right? Yeah, Sulfuric Vortex. That feels a little weak to me.
Yeah, I don't think that does enough. It probably hurts you more. Yeah.
The other option.
Hydroblast not good enough. Rushing River, maybe you could bounce a.
Creature.
It's
enchanted. Plus, he's going to have a full hand a lot, so you can make him discard an end step. There's some stuff there.
Another bridge. So I guess he has options. I don't know how many cards he wants to take out. There's a couple ways you can go.
So let's go ahead and take a look at Angelo's list.
Mm-hmm.
And Angelo's in a pretty good spot here. He has a fair amount of sideboard cards he could potentially run. I think Wastelands are an option, although Matt does have a lot of islands. I think he has 6 basics. Wasteland still feels potentially powerful to me, just because there are so many non-basics, as does Blood Moon, to be honest. The only problem with Blood Moon is you're not cutting him off of red because that's his other color. So maybe Blood Moon
Yeah.
is a little
So
bit
actually, Wasteland deals with all of the red sources. So you can, and the red is often, some of the best removal. Or well, sort of, not really. We'll see what happens. I'm not really sure.
And I would say maybe bring in that Armageddon, but seeing Gush, even though it's only a 2 of, he might not know how many are in there, and that is a deterrent, I think, for me for Armageddon. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to get back to the game. It looks like they're shuffling up, doing mulligans and whatnot, so I think we'll get back to that. But this should be a good match. I'm already enjoying this a fair amount. I think there's more play to the matchup than I expected. And yeah, I think there's some cool stuff going on here. I'm really impressed by how good Matt's, despite his loss, how good that deck looks in action. I thought it would be more awkward, but it seems to run really well.
Yeah, I don't want to get to draw too much from first impressions, but I guess we saw what the deck is capable of, and he's at this point in the tournament, so presumably the deck isn't falling flat on its face. So,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. So yeah, we have Matt at 3-1 and Angelo at 4-0. So yeah, both doing well in the tournament. So clearly there's something to both of these deck lists. But yeah, I think Matt's is just intriguing to me because I haven't seen it in our format. I know Dracosplosion was a deck back in the day with Brainstorm, but yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. And plus, it's a pretty looking deck. He has a lot of very nice looking cards in this deck.
Angelo's list is cool because one, it feels like a better iteration of some ideas that I've had, and two, I think Imperial Armor is a baller card, and it takes some amount of bravery to play
it. Yeah, I that's a card that, like, that strategy of White Weenie with Imperial Armor is a thing that I like remember strongly from the past, and I am glad that people are playing that now. I feel like White Weenie hasn't seen much play in the format as much as some of the other mono color aggro lists. Seen a lot of mono red, some mono black, both today and just in general, but not as much of the mono white.
It's kind of veered off in a couple of different directions, where you have the control side is counter rebels, and then you have the sort of like the mid-range Armageddon deck is the Terrageddon deck.
Yeah, it's flashing green, or plain green.
But Actual Crusade is a fine card.
Well, I've seen basically no Savannah Alliance in the format, and I feel like that card was a mainstay of the time period.
Yeah, you're right. It is vulnerable to Mog Fanatic a little bit.
Mog Fanatic and every removal spell, but at the same time, 2 power for 1 mana, no drawback is a real thing.
And you can. There's a lot of good creatures. There's Mother Runes. Which I don't think we're seeing here.
So in contrast to the last game, where Angelo had a turn 1 land tax that started off, he's starting off. Oh, he has a red explosion on turn 3. He's starting off with a Soltari Priest.
I assume he knows.
Yeah, he cast Portent on his turn 2, I believe.
Wow, we're getting the aggro start from
both players.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, so 16-20, but I expect that Angelo is going to be beaten down here.
Let's see. Okay. We go for the armor. Nothing you can do about that except.
It's got to be a pretty fast clock.
To the face.
I feel like he has at least 2 cards in hand.
This is where a Rushing River would come in handy.
Yeah, it's true. If he brought that Rushing River in, that one of Rushing River, he's going to be very happy if he sees it.
Disc is probably too slow. Let's see what other answers he can have.
I mean, Ensnaring Bridge that you talked about, he probably brought in another one of those too. So you'd be up to like 3 Ensnaring Bridges. That'd be a big one. Other than that, there really isn't anything. Oh, he can ice it. he can ice ice the creature for a turn.
Ice is nice. You know, you want to buy time. Bridge, the problem is you tap out for bridge and you might get disenchanted back and lose.
Yeah, that's true. Whew. I mean, he does have force of will, to be fair. I don't know if he left it in this matchup because it's tough, but
he would have, you know, he would have wanted to force.
Well, it looks like he's going face, so I think he's pretty close to winning the game. He just fired for 2. So Angelo's at 2. So yeah, Rolling Earthquake, another fire, another.
I don't know if he. No, I don't think you have to tap the forge for the armor.
I don't think for red. No. I think he had 2 planes.
Yeah.
Oh man, Mystical Tutor end step means that he can get fire.
Yeah. Unless something crazy happens, we could have a game 3 here.
Well, Angelo might have left in swords as a way to gain life. I wouldn't put it past him. Oh, Pyroblast.
Pyroblast force.
Puts himself to 1, gets Force of Will back.
Stack battle.
Yeah, my guess is that Angelo is dead, but we'll see. I feel like this match has been great and way better than I expected it to be initially. But yeah, there's tons of interaction here. What a great format.
I had high expectations, actually.
Oh, man. Yeah, he got there. Whew, game 3. And Erratic Explosion has done 32 damage thus far.
And these players are playing quite efficiently. It's cool.
I think, I think it'll be good to just really soak in. These guys have been playing fast. They've been sideboarding quickly. It doesn't seem like there's going to be any big changes here. So I don't know if we have time to take another look at their sideboards, but I am curious as to whether or not Matt brought in the other ensnaring bridges or not. I hope that he didn't bring in the Pyroclasm since he only saw Soltari Monks in game 1. But if so, he might have to re-sideboard a little bit. And yeah, this has been a really fun matchup. Oh, it looks like we lost someone from the call here. Yeah, we're just gonna wait just 1 second. Yeah, we're just gonna put up our technical difficulty screen here for a second because we had someone drop from the call. We'll be right back. Sorry for those brief technical difficulties, guys. Angelo's, this is the danger of playing over the internet. Occasionally people fall, but it looks like everyone's back, ready to go. I think we're just about ready to jump into this game, and yeah, hopefully see some more high quality Magic like we have been seeing. This has been a really fun matchup.
Mm-hmm. Beverage on top of phone.
Oh yeah, like a pro.
Not everyone.
Yeah, and let's see what kind of game we have in this one. Game 1 was a little bit more controlling from both players. Game 2 was the aggro start. Let's see if we can do it again.
We've had a failed explosion and a successful explosion. Well, they both went off.
Yeah, he dealt 32 damage with
the hero survived the first one.
Oh man, I'm excited to for this deck list to get shared a little bit around because it has been really sweet.
Yeah,
we've seen a lot of good decks though today. As they're shuffling up, we got to see Alurin. We saw the blue-green upheaval mana bond deck from Eric Caffrey last round, which is just is beautiful. Um, yeah.
I guess he
Uh,
did a lot of things and didn't win, or maybe he
that
did.
that he didn't win, but that deck has been on and off. He's gotten a little bit unlucky. He played against 2 land tax decks in this tournament, which is like his nemesis.
Oh no.
And what a deck that we didn't see on stream yet, but I've heard exciting things about is a Suicide Black deck running 4 times Hatred,
Classic.
at least 2 Lake of the Dead, and 3 Culling the Weak, which is exciting. Yeah, we've had a really good. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of different decks going on in the tournament. That's sort of the beauty of the format. We saw a Tinker deck that looked very good. I think it's also in the 9-point range. Running Snake Basket. I don't know if you saw that one, Steve.
Yeah.
4 times Snake Basket is an exciting card. And then yeah, we've seen mono greens like small number of land stompy. But here we are back to the races. It looks like a turn 1 land tax from Angelo is a pretty good start. I wonder if he has a Mox Dime. Oh no, plays the second land. And takes the damage here, it looks like.
Okay.
Man, for only running 2 of these monks, he's certainly drawn them a lot. Yeah, so Toyer Monk is funny in this matchup just because it's the only creature in his deck that's pro black. It's a 2/1 shadow with protection from black. He has the other version, Solitary Priest, which is protection from red, which is like the ideal, maybe. And then he has I forget the name. It's a 1 and a white flyer with per red 1/1 is one of them, and then he also has Paladin End back, which is per red and pro black, and is a 2/2 for a striker.
Yeah. So I think if Matt had an earthquake there, I would have been tempted to fire it off.
Yeah, for 1
to kill that, and then you bring him to 18, which is a nice point.
Oh yeah.
We're spoiled by our Scalding Turns and Volcanic.
Yeah. So we were noticing that he couldn't actually ultimately cast that spell. He doesn't have access to red mana because again, we don't have dual lands, and those are the wrong fetches because they don't make a blue red fetch. But he might even still have access to it in his hand. He could have neglected to play a red land.
We stan allied colors.
Yeah, it seems to me honestly that he might be hurting a little bit on access to red mana because there's a fair amount of red cards in his deck that would be good in this spot. Fire would be good. Rolling Earthquake would be good. I mean, Erratic Explosion's not quite what you want to be using to kill Solitary Priest, or Solitary Monk, but I'm sort of surprised that we've seen fetch land after that island. It leads me to believe that he might be having some trouble finding the red land. Yeah, so I'm hoping that that what we're not seeing is a color screw, because that is a danger of playing one of these 2-color decks that only runs enemy colors. So we'll see. And this is the kind of opening that if Angelo did side in those wastelands, he would maybe be able to punish if there is a red land that comes up. The undo phase. My guess is that. Oh, go ahead.
I guess I would sort of expect anything to be countered here, so I might be throwing out a bait spell.
Yeah, I think he was considering playing the armor, the Imperial armor, and now he's trying to decide what else.
I would feel pretty good playing like a Paladin here.
Oh, exactly Paladin and back.
Yeah. So instead of playing Silver Knight, we're playing the Paladin, which gets countered. And that's the main weakness of it, is that you do expose yourself to like 2 mana counters.
Yeah, I think he also has a fair amount of things at 2 mana. He might feel like it's a glut and he wants to spread out his curve a little bit for a card that's slightly more powerful in more matchups, but I might have put the fear in him. We play tested a fair amount with me playing mono black aggro, so I might have given him an unfair representation of the meta.
Yeah, I guess when I was playing like white weenie, I would often want to curve out, and I would want my turn 3 to be playing 2 spells. This deck has some different goals. but so you know,
What were
hurts
your
a
one
little bit.
drops? Did you have Savannah Lions and Mother Runes in yours?
Yeah, I had Nova Cleric, which is a 1/2 that can destroy all enchantments if you sacrifice it,
Oh, okay.
and like Weathered Wayfarer, and you can use that to like keep fetching wastelands and sort of
Yeah,
like keep them locked. Yeah.
that's sort of a different style a little bit, but
Mhm. Yeah. Or you
Nova
turn
Cleric's a
3,
cool
you play
card though.
like
I haven't seen
Lions
that one.
3 is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so he has the Imperial armor, but it looks like he's getting fired in response.
Oof. Into that
Classic
value.
2-for-1s. Yeah. And yeah, it looks like oh, is he going? He tried to play a second land tax, but I don't think it is. He noticed that he had a mountain.
Hmm. So we're gushing.
Yeah, which would have made that second land tax kind of poopy anyway. So yeah, I wonder how often Gush and land tax have fought in various formats. I can't imagine it's very many. I don't think people were still playing Cherry, Parfait, and Vintage when there were 4 Gushes.
No, and Lantax was not legal in Legacy for a while.
And well, I don't think Gush has ever been legal in Legacy, has it?
I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. But in Extended, I think land tax was banned too for part of that
Yeah.
time period. So yeah, it's not a lot of time where they could have been together.
Mhm.
All right. Angelo's in a weird place. He has a bunch of cards in hand, no creatures on the board.
Mhm.
And I think he's taken 2 damage already so far, which puts him very close to Erratic Explosion death. 4
Here
mana.
we go. Armageddon.
Huh.
It might be a must answer. Because he
It's
might
funny.
have.
I mean, he gushed on the previous turn, but he has played one of those lands.
Yeah.
But I mean, we know Angelo has a bunch of lands in hands from land taxing, and he'll get to land tax again if this resolves.
It's a nice play here.
It's also a way to get rid of that red land.
It just happens. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm hoping. Yeah, he went Armageddon, and then the next turn he went second land tax. But he did play a land, which is funny.
Mhm. Well, was the land tax post Geddon?
I think it was the turn after, actually,
Okay.
but I might be wrong.
But I guess we thought that Matt had a land to play, and so he would have had to decline, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it is likely that that he has not.
I mean, maybe there is a reason to decline there, if you know you aren't going to be chaining lands.
Yeah. I think he's trying to decide how many lands are left in his deck.
Hmm.
I think he was confused about whether or not he made the land drop on the right turn. I think he's okay. The fun of land tax. I'll pass. I will not play land.
Oh, you're defeating me in the creature sphere. I will defeat you in the land sphere.
Well, it looks like Angelo is going to go and find some lands in his deck. I can't imagine he has many more. He land taxed at least once, I think twice. He has a land in play. I can't imagine he has 6 left, is I guess what I'm saying.
He's playing 11 planes.
Yeah, 11. It looks like 11 planes and 0. Oh, and 1 mountain hiding up there at the top.
Mm.
Yeah, we were just counting total lands. It looks to me, counting his lands, he has 12 total. So yeah, he had 3 left there. And then he also has a couple non-basics. He has Undiscovered Paradise himself. He has Fields of Trocaire, which is comes into play taps for double white land. Surprised to see that one a little bit, but I guess it does some work with land tax. Like turn 1, it's the Fallen Empire's version of the double mana land.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a Keldoran Outpost, which seems good as a one of, and some Battlefield Forges, which we've seen.
Is that a mystical?
Looks that way. Yeah, Angela seems to have played Undiscovered Paradise and just passed.
Getting a gamble.
Ooh. Yeah, Mystical Tutor for gamble is tough. It's like Mystical for Vamp.
That also makes the gamble more risky. I don't think he has a risk-free gamble option.
No, I don't think so. But at the same time, you don't have a lot of ways to tutor in white red, and he is playing a combo deck, so like a 2-card kind of a combo deck. I wonder what you get with gamble. Yeah.
Well, then you would have to put the dragon on top.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, my guess is Dragon or Scroll Rack. It is kind of a 3-card combo in that regard. If it's me and I only have like 1 or 0 of the pieces, I think I get Scroll Rack. If I have Scroll Rack and Erratic Explosion in hand already, I guess I get.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So pretty good gamble.
They're just saying that one. That was the Scroll Rack. So even if it wasn't the card he was intending to hit or that he gambled for, it might have been the card he needed.
The only way that's not a terrible thing is if he has a backup Scroll Rack.
Yeah, which is, again, it's possible since we don't know what he gambled for. But yeah, this is a tight one. He just shuffled. Angelo, don't shuffle for no reason. Killing me. Yeah, I have no options here, but it's a superstition thing. Just wants to touch his deck more. All right. Maybe he'll hit something sweet, though. Who knows? Oh, land. Perfect. No, I don't know. Huh. I wonder what's in his hand. 3 lands, but what else? Yeah. He must, I mean, it must be just lands and Imperial Armor. Maybe some like Disenchants or Pyroblasts. Oh, that's the 1/1 flyer. Here, I'm gonna figure out what that thing is called. Yeah, free wind falcon.
Getting counterspelled.
That's how good it is. Yeah, it's from Visions. It has a pretty ridiculous picture too.
That's like the best looking counterspell in the format.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly that that's the best. The arena one, so nice. I mean, I think that playing a deck that is available, that is has a lot of pro red, is probably smart in this format. I mean, we know that the best other aggro deck is mono red, whether it's goblins or like a Sly red deck wins style deck. Lightning Bolt is amongst the most played card. Oh yeah, he did have a backup Scroll Rack, or he found one.
Okay.
Ooh, disenchant the Scroll Rack, but it might be enough. He also, the other card he wants to draw right here is Wasteland.
So he's going to activate Scroll Rack in response.
Yeah, in response to the disenchant. I mean, assuming he has all the pieces. Draco goes on top and you hold on to Erratic Explosion and then win the game, right? Or darn near.
Yeah, you might need to do 2 more damage after that.
Well, he does have a Barbarian Ring in play.
I see.
But he doesn't have a second red source, as far as we know.
We don't know if the Wastelands...
It looks like he set aside his whole hand, so he does not probably have the Erratic Explosion yet. That seems like sort of bad news for him. So he needs this to find an Erratic Explosion. Yeah. So it is possible that he put the Erratic Explosion on top. Last time he cast an Erratic Explosion, the Draco was the second card down after when he cast the explosion. So I wonder if there's more to it, or more to what he's doing here. But we'll see. It's plausible that this is the end of the game in the offing, but it's also possible that Angelo plays a Wasteland here and everything falls to pieces.
Well, the Wasteland's not happening.
I think I just heard here that that Matt is at 9. So with Matt at 9 and Angelo at, I believe, 19, 18.
I have 18. Could have missed.
There's a Erratic Explosion.
More forges because that died. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and that puts Matt, since he tapped the Barbarian Ring, to 8.
So it could be 2 to 8.
Yeah, I think it might be 2 to 8. So I'm trying to think if there's any outs for Angelo here besides Matt not having a red source.
Could be swords again.
He's Enlightened Tutoring.
But you'd have to have swords in just for that purpose because you can't remove anything.
Well, if he gets Imperial Armor here and we assume that his hand is still pretty full, which it should be, it might be enough, right? He's had 7 cards in hand. He played 1 creature. That might be dead. That might be the game if Matt doesn't have a Force of Will in his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely been a great match so far, back and forth. I still don't know who's going to win. And I've been wildly impressed by Imperial Armor out of Angelo's deck. I was really not thinking the card was that good, and it's been great.
Yeah, with the right protection.
Oh, Chain of Vapor. Whew. Oh man. Yeah, what a great game, great match.
That blew my mind. That was great.
I was like, the only thing he could have is a free counter. Nope, Chain of Vapor. Forgot about that one. Whew. Well, and the game is still not over. Matt has to find a red source. Undiscovered Paradise. I'm assuming he's replaying the Solteri Priest. Yeah, it's true.
This is where if you had perfect foresight, you would have slammed the Tormod's Crypt and taken away Threshold.
What land is that's got to be Polluted Delta, right? Yeah, not a red. One, so okay, the life totals are close, right? It's 2 to 8. So if Angelo gets,
well, it could be 7 now because of the fetch.
Oh, good point. 7. Yeah, I think it is 7. So if Angelo gets Matt low enough, he can't use Rolling Earthquake as a win anymore.
Could be a draw, and then we could have a game 4.
I can't tell what card that is.
It's a blue card.
Oh, it's Portent.
Okay.
It's Portent, and I believe what he's trying to decide is if he's going to target himself or Angelo.
I think I would want to target. Does he know what the cards are?
I think he does. He hasn't seen 7 cards since he got to activate Scroll Rack, I don't think, or 6 cards, however many cards he had in hand. I think that he probably targets Angelo. Yep.
Yep. So we see a diamond, a bolt, and I can't see the third card.
It's Mox Diamond, Bolt, and third card. Hey, they're figuring it out.
Okay. I think the third one's a white creature. Oh. He just had it. There's an earthquake?
Yeah, it's a rolling earthquake for 2. And I believe they're talking about now, Angelo's wondering why he got slow rolled. And Matt's response, the gravitas. Oh, what a great match. What a great match.
I think you're in that one. Good job.
Put himself to 6-2. That was a lot. That was a very close game. Man, I'd love to talk to both of them. Let's see if we can get their attention and chat a little bit here. Yeah, we'll be right back here in 1 second. Hopefully, we'll be able to interview both these guys and really talk about what a great match that was. But yeah, see you guys shortly.
All right. Hello.
Welcome.
Okay.
We're back here. We're going to talk a little with Angelo and Matt about what a great match that was. Just back and forth. We didn't know who was going to win at any point. Anything could have happened.
I felt like I lost the first one and won the second one. That was not the case.
Yeah,
the first one was awesome.
They were both great, and we got to see a Red Explosion cast several times, which is always fun.
That's probably the one game for sure.
So Angelo, we were both saying we've seen a couple mono white and also some land tax lists, but yours is kind of in the middle between the two.
Yeah. Land tax is a great card.
The tax but no rack.
I did not think about Scroll Rack. I'm probably going to put it in the deck after this tournament.
Fair enough.
Scroll Rack. I know it exists. I know it's hella expensive. I just forgot that it's awesome with land tax.
Hey, there's a gold border version, just letting you know. Anyway.
$24 on TCG Player. I'm going to buy it today.
And Matt, you were on the other side of the coin. You're the first person I think I've seen with a Scroll Rack and no land tax.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about your list? Because it seemed like the Scroll Rack really did a lot of work.
Oh, Scroll Rack is the engine. Once people figure that out, this deck gets very bad. I come from Hyperextended, so we don't have land tax. I wanted to play Scroll Rack, and the best card to really pair with that is Gush.
Yeah.
Once I figued that out,
we figured that out in the game.
Yeah, we saw you do that and said, "Oh shit!" No, that was amazing.
You get Mystical Tutor shenanigans if you need it. It's a Scroll Rack deck at heart, like.
Yeah.
A gamble was for Scroll Rack, and it was promptly discarded.
Yeah, so you ripped that second Scroll Rack.
Did you have a backup Scroll Rack? I don't know if did you natty draw that?
I had to. Each draw step, I was like, and Scroll Rack off the top, and Scroll Rack off the top.
I was holding double distance.
I had to get it off the top, and
yeah, Angelo, it's tough. We were saying your sideboard. We were wondering if you brought in Wasteland in that matchup because it seems like his red mana was a little bit taxed potentially.
Yeah, because I don't know. I felt like with Scroll Rack and stuff, he could have worked around it.
Possibly. Well, we knew that he didn't have any basic mountains. You didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Basic
mountains. I was actually going to ask you about that, Matt. You only have 8 red sources, right?
Yeah, that is true.
And some of them are barbering, and barbering needs another one.
Yeah, to do 2 at least. Yeah.
Most of the setup is blue anyway. I know a lot of people don't play Portent. I like it. It helps early on to help find your colors and find your thing. If you get Scroll Rack going, you're probably going to find your red source anyway.
Yeah.
Ideally, you don't need a red source until you're casting Erratic Explosion, but you don't always have that. You have to have the Fire Ice. You have your Rolling Earthquake, which is another card that I absolutely love.
Yeah. Now, we've talked a lot about Rolling Earthquake. I don't know that many of us have played it just because it's expensive and in old border and stuff, but like it's a cool card. We were wondering if you went low on any of those, but you didn't get to see them. But it's funny, Angelo drew those 2 Soltari monks a bunch of times and drew his other red or pro red creatures a lot less. But his whole deck almost is pro red. I was wondering if you were going to go lower on any of the damage spells, or if you can't because you need to do the extra damage.
Yeah,
I was scared of that.
Yeah.
Keeping the Chain of Vapors in, I also boarded in a Rushing River because I know all of his dudes, like, at least I need something to get them off the board if necessary.
Yeah. Against the average aggro deck, I feel like you're really well situated with 4 fires, 2 rolling earthquakes, but
tutors to find them.
Yeah, but with Angelo's deck, it really only kills a couple creatures. He just happened to always draw those 2 creatures.
Why rolling Earthquake instead of Earthquake?
Hits all creatures without horsemanship.
I know, but
it hits flyers. It's the real thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah. Good call.
And for whatever reason, horsemanship is not caught on as much as flying in this format, and I, for one, can't understand that.
Delu horse. Ride the Delu horse.
I was talking earlier to Nat when he was casting with us that about riding the Delu horse because he has a Bogle's deck or whatever. It's not actual Bogles, but there are, I think, 2 or 3 creatures in the format that have Troll Shroud before Troll Shroud existed.
Okay. You can deep spawn, right?
Yeah. It's like
Fallen Empires isn't legal in middle school. Never mind.
Deep Spawn might be though. There's some weird. There's a bunch of Fallen Empires cards that are like printed in weird supplemental sets.
Leviathan was reprinted.
That's true. But yeah, so for you guys, just the last kind of question for you before we move on to our next round and let you guys play your last round. Which, by the way, congratulations! I think you guys are at the top of the standings right now. But what are the most fun decks you've seen today? That's been my favorite question to ask. What's your favorite other deck from somebody else that you've seen?
Fernando had this. It might have been a Survival of the Fittest deck, but I thought he was playing elves, and then next thing you know, he's bouncing my stuff with Tradewind Riders and coming at me with Manticores. And I really hate playing against Tradewind Riders, but I love Tradewind Riders. So that was pretty cool.
Fernando's deck was really sweet. He beat the crap out of me in game 2.
Yeah.
Similar thing. He leads on Llanowar Go, and then it's just like, oh, here's a survival. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That resolved, so I probably lose. And then it's like Enlightened Tutor for Winter Worms. Like, he opposition to ordered me out of the game, and it's just, well, you got your deranged hermit. I can't play cards.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
The only other game I lost, I think. But
yeah. Well, cool.
There's a lot of cool decks.
Yeah, I've been happy about every deck I've seen on camera, so I'm glad you guys are having a fun time and seeing some cool decks too. Yeah. Well, thanks so much. You guys definitely put on a show for us. It was very exciting to watch. And well, good luck in the next round. We'll see you guys in a little bit, and we'll see you out there in the world in a little bit too. Right after we get the next round paired and up here. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Yeah, thanks. Yes.